not wanting anything is the best performance hack. So, contrary to popular belief, dopamine is not a pleasure neurotransmitter. What it actually is a neurotransmitter of wanting. So, it typically creates an urge in us to move towards a certain goal. And in this urge, it creates a sense of discomfort. And that's why we move towards the goal, because we want to get rid of the discomfort. But the thing about this type of state is that it's actually really exhausting. So when we live in a high dopaminergic state where we're constantly producing a lot of dopamine and we never quite have any reprieve from that, then we are super prone to burnout. And you probably know what this feels like. You're just always wanting and you feel like you're not making enough progress and there's just so much to do and you just can't get a handle on things and you just feel like that urge state all the time, that kind of state where like things aren't right. It's like it's not where you want them to be, and it's a horrible way to live. Most of us don't realize that there's actually a different way to live. We don't have to live like this. We can actually still get all of the things done without wanting them. And this is kind of a hard to understand and sort of, I guess, advanced concept. But the idea is that if we don't rely on the dopaminergic system, we can just choose to do things without having that intense urge state that tends to sabotage us because we get too tired, we get angry that we haven't achieved it, we feel bad about ourselves, and we just feel like we've expended too much energy, we get like perfectionistic. We can actually avoid that state by wanting both outcomes. And what I mean by that is, let's say, this is a very weird way to think, so just bear with me. But let's say you want a promotion and you want it so badly, like you feel like if you don't get it, you don't know what you're gonna do. And you can't imagine a world where you don't get it, right? So you're working super hard for it, you're super stressed, and you just feel super horrible, essentially. If you were to train yourself to want getting the promotion, but also want not getting the promotion, you want both outcomes, you're okay with either outcome, then you could actually work towards it in a sustainable way. You could just choose to do it because why not? Why not work towards it? And then you wouldn't have that like emotional sabotage that tends to happen to us, in which we're just so attached to an outcome that we feel horrible. And the worst part is, in living like this, is that oftentimes the outcome doesn't even make us happy. So oftentimes we get the promotion and then we find some new thing to want. And we're just always wanting. We're always living in this state of like wanting something new. It's a horrible way to live. And so if you can train yourself to want both outcomes and to know you'll be okay with both outcomes, then you will feel so much more contentment and you'll have more sustainable performance. At the same time, one way to also reprieve this kind of constant urge state that's so exhausting is to focus on having. So most of us are going throughout the day thinking, I want to change that, I want to change this, I want to work towards that, I need to change that about myself, like, oh, I need to learn this new skill because, I'm not good enough at it, which is great. Like, it's great to try to advance and all of that, but you have to understand that never in the history of humanity have we wanted this many things. Like, we're constantly bombarded by information that you're to this and you're to that and you need to change this and you need to change that, and oh, did you learn this? Did you read that book? Like, it's insane. And so in order to kind of give a rest to our brains and to give ourselves like a little bit of contentment and just reprieve so that we're not so exhausted and miserable all the time, we need to shift our mind into having. And so having is what I refer to as focusing on the things that you already have. So maybe you have a certain skill, maybe you have a house you like, maybe you have a family you like, maybe you have a cat you like. I have a cat I like. And so it could be anything. And sometimes the small things are even more impactful than the big things because they're just easier to kind of rack up. But if you feel that exhaustion from working really hard towards things, being so influenced by platforms like this and people like me to keep changing and improving and doing all the things, and you're just like, I can never catch up, like I'm so overwhelmed. You probably have the dopamine drain. You probably have been existing in such a dopaminergic state that your mind is like, we can't manufacture more dopamine, like we're so tired. And so you need to change to a different system. You need to rely on a different network. And if you can teach yourself to do that, and I know it sounds strange and I know it's not easy, you can feel so much better. And you can still do all of the things you wanted to do.